Mr. Bell's pictures. Okay.
Good.
Yeah, now we have our audio's on too.
Should be.
Okay. And if it's not, they usually prompt you to
Do something.
do that. Yeah.
Exactly. Now how that works. All
I'll buzz you in case something goes crazy.
right, I'm going to make a deposit, so I'll be at the front desk.
Okay.
Nice meeting you, Mr. Bell.
Nice meeting you.
What kind of work do you do?
I am a aerospace engineer.
Oh, really? I mean, do you work for a company or do you just?
Yeah, I work remotely actually. I work in defense. I work for a small defense contractor.
That's where rockets used to come from, right?
Yeah, Huntsville.
Warner von Braun.
I've got Burner von Braun Way. And,
Oh, do they really?
the German restaurant that I go to.
Like the Alps. That's not there anymore. You do a pretty good job at the Lear Crunch. I just haven't been up there in a while.
Yeah.
In New York City, they have the Heidelberger. It's one of the up in Yorktown. It's one of the last German restaurants. And that neighborhood used to be filled on the Upper East Side. Used to be filled with German restaurants.
And my mother's Austrian.
Oh, really? I cook German food. What part of Austria?
Yeah.
Okay. Gorgeous city. Zocker Hotel, Hotel Zocker. Did she grow up in Indiana?
She did. Vienna and Byron. During World War II. So wasn't exactly it.
So not a war bride.
No, no.
Zell-on-Zee is pretty early too. Your dad Austrian or?
No.
Oh, really? You grew up around here?
No, I actually grew up in the DC area. That's near Dulles Airport. My wife Natalie. She grew up.
Yeah. You go to college to go?
No, actually, a graduate student. We met at the wedding in Hawaii.
Wow. I'm gonna have to have a wedding in Hawaii because I think my daughter is eventually gonna marry a guy who's a native Hawaiian. And they have a very cultural thing that they like to get married in the islands. So I'll not burden my friends with a destination wedding. Just for fun. This family, and then we'll have a big party here. Yeah. This is the real deal. His name is about 40 letters long. So. And I can only pronounce his first and last name. The other ones I can't. But if you're at least 50% Hawaiian, you're eligible for participation in the Bishop Trust. She's like the last queen of Hawaii, and it's worth billions and billions of dollars. And they have prep schools that they send their talented students to that, and then they pay for college.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Okay. I don't think I have. I don't think I have. I had that because I used to do business with him when he was living. Let me check, maybe I do, let me check. Okay.
This is working pretty well. I do the Reading zoning hearings out of here.
Mm-hmm.
First couple months was very problematic, but since then it's pretty good. People have gotten used to it.
Has Larry come back?
No, and I'm gonna try calling. I'm not muted. I thought I was muted. Sorry. I'm gonna try calling him again, but his phone was off. Yeah, it's still kicking me straight to voicemail. Najla, Bob's with us now, but thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I realized that. I don't have his phone number anyway, I looked.
Hey, Bob, when we're finished, can you email me your cell phone number? I thought I had it, but I apparently don't.
I'll give it to you right now if you want it.
I don't know if you want to do that in a public
I'm
meeting. That's
I'm
good.
okay with that. My clients all have it anyway.
Fair enough. If you're okay with it, go ahead.
610-223-0763.
Saving you right now.
Yeah, I worked for 15 years for Lockheed, and the last year it was
I wonder what happened to Larry. I hope he didn't have an emergency with his wife.
Yeah, me too.
You testified, you want to take your mask off. I don't really care.
I might do that because he's still.
We can still conduct the meeting without him, right?
Yes.
I have a 7:30 tonight. Trying to get these people to move back to like 7 or 6:30. They just won't do it. 7:30 screws up.
Is it a meeting?
Municipal.
Mm.
And I said, all the municipalities that I represent, when I got them to move their meetings to 6:30 or 6, people went like, this is great. We just come right from work.
Yeah.
And then we're home by 7:15 or 7:30 for dinner. We've gone home, scooping down a fast dinner, and
Right.
chill
Yeah.
lethargic, and then go back. I just can't get these fast.
Mm-hmm.
That means I don't get home till
Where's Dan?
9:20.
There he is.
There he is.
Like a magic trick.
It's amazing what we've been able to do with technology.
Seen, I understand that Mr. Price is going to be here today. I've not seen his smiling face for, there he is, for months and months. So good to see you again, Steve.
Good to see you, Mr. Becker.
Are we going to wait for Mr. Leggero, or are we just going to get started?
I've tried calling him a few times and it keeps going straight to voicemail. So I'm not sure what to say. That's the board's call.
So let me also just explain to Steve so he can explain to his client. We actually had the chairman, Mr. Rothenbull, is not present today. So Mr. Leggero, who's the alternate, did participate in our first meeting, but I think maybe having some technical difficulties, and it seems to having difficulty joining in today for this hearing. Do you have any objection to us proceeding with just the two, which is certainly a quorum, the two members, which are Najla Batish and Bob Owen?
So you can ask for a continuance, because if there's only two members present, if one says yes and one says no, then it's a no. All right, we'll waive it and go with the two.
Thank you.
I don't see Steve's not coming up on my
He's kind of sitting off to the side. If you see the one that's marked MSBK,
oh, okay.
that's Steve kind of off on the side. He's
Oh, there you are.
on top of that, he's wearing a black shirt, so he kind of blends in.
Incognito.
Everybody's has a mask on.
Yes.
All
He's
right.
following the CDC protocols. Thank you.
All right. What, are we ready to start?
Yes, sir, whenever you're ready.
Okay, we're here today for the date set for a hearing, April 22nd, 2021 at 4 p.m. for the application of Mr. Thomas and Natalie Parisi Bell, owners of property located at 1445 Reading Boulevard, who are requesting a variance from section 404 area, yard, and height regulations from the Borough of Wyomissing zoning ordinance. The issues are: one, the property is located in the R1 low density residential district. The property measures approximately 24,000 square feet and is conforming for the minimum lot size of 12,000 square feet. Two, the property is a corner lot with frontages along Reading Boulevard and Wyomissing Avenue. The rear property line is bordered by an unnamed 15-foot wide alley. Three, the required rear yard setback in the R1 zoning district is 40 feet or 25% of the lot depth, whichever is less. The lot depth is 150 feet, which would require a minimum rear yard setback of 37.5 feet. The existing attached garage is currently non-conforming with a 20.5 foot setback from the rear property line. Four, the applicant is proposing to extend and add a second floor onto the existing attached two-car garage located along the rear of the property. The proposed addition would extend 30 feet towards Wyomissing Avenue while maintaining the existing 20.5 foot rear setback. The addition would therefore encroach 17 feet into the required rear yard. Five, the required building setback in the R1 zoning district is 30 feet as measured to the property line, 44 feet as measured from the outside curb face along Wyomissing Avenue. The proposed addition is to extend 30 feet towards Wyomissing Avenue and would therefore encroach 7 feet into the required front yard. Six, the neighboring house at 1436 Garfield Avenue is currently non-conforming with a building setback of 38.5 feet off the curb line of Wyomissing Avenue, less the required 44 inches. As such, this location has no bearing on the front yard setback exceptions required under section 613.2 front yard exceptions of the zoning ordinance. Seven, the height of the existing dwelling is 23 feet and the proposed addition's height is also 23 feet. Maximum building height allowed within the R1 zoning district is 35 feet. Eight, the existing building coverage for the property is 5,079 square feet, which results in a building coverage percentage of 21.2%. With the addition of the proposed 480 square feet garage addition, building coverage of the lot will total 23.2%. The maximum building coverage allowed in the R1 district is 25%. Nine, the existing paved coverage for the property is 2,868 square feet, which results in a paved coverage percentage of 12%. With an additional 350 square feet of paved driveway, paved coverage on the lot will total 13.4%. The maximum paved coverage allowed in the R1 district is 20%. Now, I guess I should introduce everybody. Not everybody knows everybody here. I'm Robert Ullman. I'm a member of the zoning board. I'm not the chairman. That's David Rothenmuller. He's not here today. I'm serving as temporary chairman. Here, however, is Najla Patish, who's a member of the zoning hearing board, as well as Melissa Bear, who's serving here today as, what are you serving here today as, Michelle?
I'm the zoning hearing board secretary today.
Okay, zoning board hearing officer today. And we also have Joe Neidert, who's our zoning board enforcement officer.
Right.
Health officer. All right. Now, I'm going to give this meeting over to our solicitor, who will explain how we're going to proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ullman. Mr. Bell and Ms. Parisi, I see that you're represented today by competent counsel, Stephen H. Price. So I think you're in good hands. But just so you understand, the burden today is yours to establish why you're requesting the relief that you're asking for. You can do that by providing testimony, and I'm sure Mr. Price has already talked to you about that, and we'll walk you through that today. At the conclusion of anybody who's providing testimony, the board members and any member of the public, which I do not see any member of the public that's here on this call today, but they would have opportunities to ask questions. After all the evidence has been submitted, the testimony, exhibits, and so forth, this board will then typically go into an executive session where they will deliberate on the request. At the conclusion of the deliberations, they will typically come out and render an oral decision, which will be followed within 45 days with a written decision. Do you have any questions about how we're going to proceed today?
Nope. Nope.
Okay, if not, Mr. Price, we'll turn it over to you.
All right, Stephen H. Price, Mogul Spidell, Bob and Kirchner, 520 Walnut Street, Reading, PA, 19601. We're going to have one witness today. It would be Mr. Bell. I know Dr. Creasy is participating. What we're going to do is just explain the reason to get these two-dimensional relief that we requested. And I think it'll make sense to the board and all those who are participating. Basically, Dr. Parisi and Mr. Bell have resided at the home for a number of years. They've made some market improvements to the property over the years due to some health reasons, due to COVID and some on-street traffic congestion. They desire to expand their garage from 2 to 3 cars, and they desire to put in this addition an exercise room for both Mr. Bell's use and Dr. Parisi's use. And with that, I'll swear in, have Mr. Bell sworn in, please.
Thank you. Mr. Bell, please raise your right hand, and the stenographer, Ms. Mertz, you would swear him in, please.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Bell, would you state your full name, please?
Thomas Bell,
And where do you reside, sir?
1445 Reading Boulevard in Wyomissing.
And with whom do you reside there?
Natalie Parisi, my wife.
All right. And Dr. Parisi has authorized you to represent her interests in this application today?
Yes.
Can you explain to the board what you desire to do and why you desire to do it?
So we purchased the property in 2004 and we basically gutted it. The home was built in the early 50s. We never finished the space above the garage. It's a 2-car garage. And we have 3 cars. So 1 car is frequently parked on the street. So we've always wanted to get that car off the street. We wanted to finish that space above the garage. Then when COVID hit, you know, Natalie and I both like to work out. Natalie's immunocompromised, and so all those 3 factors together led us to think, let's renovate the garage, let's expand it out to 3 bays and turn that space above the garage into an exercise room.
And now you've worked with Jeff Hayes and Mr. Hofford from Hofford Surveying and tried to come up with the least intrusive plan, correct, sir?
Correct. So, yes.
Is this the minimum amount of relief that would allow you to accomplish your goal of getting that car off the street, getting it parked in an enclosed garage, and getting a sufficient exercise area?
Yes.
And there's no other configuration on this property because of its size where you could accomplish your goals unless you do it the way we're proposing, correct?
Correct.
All right. Have you had a chance to talk with your neighbors about this? Have you received any critiques or objections?
We have not received any critiques or objections. We've talked to Martha, to Jane, to the Ditskys. They are the, Martha and the Ditskys are our closest neighbors, and they're all in support of the plan.
And when you construct this addition, if you're given approval by the zoning hearing board, are the materials that you're going to be using to expand the garage and this constructs this addition to on the 2nd floor, are you going to be using the same materials that are on the house today?
Yes.
And so from a street view, the house will not look any different than it does today.
Correct.
You're going to maintain the same flower and shrubberies and grass. It's just, it'll be a little bit
the building will be kicked out a little bit, correct?
Correct.
Do you believe that this requested variances or that these requested variances will alter the essential character of the neighborhood?
No.
Do you believe it'll be a detriment to neighboring homeowners with respect to their home prices?
No.
I guess that's all I have, Mr. Becker.
Okay,
And you have the elevation prepared by Mr. Hayes in the survey with the existing improvements and proposed improvements. That's part of the application, correct?
that is, Mr. Price.
So those-
Do you want to just review them quickly with us to kind of explain what they depict?
So, all right, sure.
Same with this, there's this also, Steve, if you can see the screen, and I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
This has put up, which was part of the application. It's the site plan. If you could maybe just quickly have your client describe that.
All right, let me just get a copy of that here so he can. Why don't you go to, yeah,
Yeah, I can work with what's on the screen there. So, right, yeah, perfect. Yeah, so in the upper left corner of the property, you see there, you see the intersection there, the 15-foot alley and Wyoming Avenue. And the expansion we're talking about there is that that small rectangle in the upper left corner of the property. So, yes, right where that mouse cursor is, just a little bit to the right of that. Actually, no, yeah, I think they're hovering over it right.
yeah, right,
Yeah,
right there.
right. That is the part. We're basically, so when we bought the house in 2004, Jeff Hayes, the architect, we walked through the house with him. Oh, here we go. Perfect. Thank you. We walked through the property with him and basically said, Jeff, if we bought this place, could you make it great? And so we ended up gunning it. He did a fantastic job. And when we're looking at the expanding the garage, we went to Jeff again, who's now retired, and said, what are your thoughts? How could we do this and still make it fit the current aesthetic and still have it look great? And those are the next two pages that we'll get to here in a minute. But the floor plan or the overview here, you can see that rectangle proposed addition 16 feet by 30 feet there on the upper left, right? So that's where it'll sit on the property.
Just as a quick question, Mr. Bell, and you access the garage from the alley, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you have 2-car garages in the existing garage. The addition would be for the third vehicle, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and the encroachment is over to the Wyoming Avenue area?
Correct.
Right.
It's Wyoming.
I'm sorry, Wyoming, I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay,
And we could go 7 feet into the allowed front yard.
okay.
And if you, I think it's in Mr. Neidert's report as well. If you were to look up Wyoming Avenue, heading up towards Penn Ave from the boulevard there, this addition is right in line with all the other homes going up Wyoming towards Penn. So it's not going to stick out in any respect from the neighboring properties.
And then
I was just wondering if I could comment.
we should probably, if you're going to do that, we should probably have you sworn, Dr. Parisi. So if you want to, if you'd like to do that, we should have you raise your right hand and then the stenographer can swear you in.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
I just wanted to go back to part of the reason for the addition and for a gym or exercise room. The house is built on a cement slab, so we can't go down. We can't make a basement anywhere. And And there isn't really another place to put a gym. We've been using kind of a little cubby upstairs, but once COVID hit, I mean, Tom and I are avid gym goers, and the medication that I take for my rheumatoid arthritis is an immunosuppressive. So it made me uncomfortable to be going to the gym where people are sweating and breathing all over you, obviously in the pandemic. And we all know this virus isn't going away. So that's really the purpose of, for the past year, 2 to 3 times a week, I pull the cars out of the garage. I set up all my gym stuff, and I have a friend that comes over, and we work out in the garage often with the door open. So that's really the main reason why I'd like to have an exercise room in the house, somewhere where I can work out without having to go to a public gym.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Price, do you want to further discuss the elevations at all, just briefly?
Yeah, Mr. Bell, would you like to describe the?
Yeah, so the elevation that's on the screen right now, you're standing in the alley looking, I guess it would be in the direction over the house that would be Reading Boulevard behind there. So the double door on the left side is essentially what we have now. And then we're adding this third door up. Yeah, so we're adding the second door as an access to the third bay. What Jeff has drawn here on the top here is effectively kind of a clear story in which the roof itself would almost be lifted up by a window height to give us some headroom in that upstairs room. So if you're familiar with the house, the same clear story design exists above our kitchen. So that's how Jeff was able to kind of blend into this design with what's already there.
And that's going to be the location of the gym upstairs.
Yes, sir. And then
That would be from Wyoming looking at it.
right. So this what's on the screen right now is looking from Wyoming towards the side of the house. And what you see there with the 3 windows, that's what we currently have. And what we're going to do, if approved, is we're essentially going to move that stone wall out by 16 feet and the landscaping. And so the view from Wyoming towards the house will effectively be the same. And of course, behind, or I should say above the roof there, you see that the side of that, I'm calling it a clear story, that's providing the additional headroom.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Price, do you have anything further?
I don't. I think Dr. Parisi and Mr. Bell have described the project well. I think it won't affect the community. In fact, it will enhance the neighborhood. And we would respectfully request that the variances be granted.
Board members, do you have any questions for the applicants?
Not me. No, I do not either.
Yeah, neither do I have any further questions. Very thorough, thank you. At this point, I think we need to swear in our 2 professionals. We need Michelle Baer and Joe Neidert, if we can have them sworn.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yeah.
I do.
Let's start with Mr. Neidert. Mr. Neidert, you're here today in the capacity as the zoning officer for the borough of Wyomissing. Is that correct?
Residential zoning officer, yes.
And what are your duties and responsibilities as the residential zoning officer?
He's basically enforced the Wyomissing zoning ordinance and provided the opening memo to the board, which having listened to the testimony, I need to make some.
Okay, before you get there, let's just mark that. So what you're referring to is so you prepared a report. That was the report that was read into the record by Mr. Allman at the beginning of the hearing?
Correct.
Okay, we'll mark that as board exhibit number 1. Now you said you have some corrections that you would like to address?
Yes. So throughout the report, we're talking about the 2 farms along the property. One is Reading Blvd. The other one was written here or typed as Wyomissing Avenue, and it should be Wyoming. So throughout the report, it keeps saying Wyomissing Avenue. It should be Wyoming.
Thank you. And what relief is being requested today, Mr. Neidert?
Okay, so one other correction, if I can. In the initial application statement, it says that they're seeking relief for section 404. There should also be inclusion of section 704.3, which is for non-conforming buildings or structures. Because they are looking to extend a non-conforming structure.
So go ahead, Mr. Nyder, continue.
Yeah, so basically they needed to seek the same relief, but I just, as we were reading that and there was a statement made in item number 3 there that the existing garage is non-conforming. I feel we should also include section 704.3, which if I can read it to you basically quickly, it says, a non-conforming building or structure shall not be enlarged, increased, repaired, maintained, or modified in any manner which will further violate any applicable dimensional requirements imposed by this chapter, where a portion of an existing building or structure encroaches into a setback area or exceeds a height limit under this chapter. In addition to such existing building or structure may be constructed only where all portions of the addition are located within all the applicable setbacks and below the height limit of this chapter. So since they're proposing to extend out and at the same rear, at the same location in the rear, which is already encroaching, they would have to seek relief for that section as well.
So it's 404, and that's a setback, is that correct?
So yes, in the rear, they're basically looking at extending the existing setback, which was, they want to go 30 feet towards Wyoming Avenue and maintain a 20.5-foot rear setback, which would actually encroach 17 foot into the required 30, the required 37.5 setback, sorry.
All right, and then the other item of relief is 704.3, the expansion of non-conforming use.
Because they want to.
Understood. You already went through that one. Is there anything else? Any other?
Yes,
Okay.
they also need relief for the frontage along Wyoming Avenue. Since it's extending that 30 feet, they would encroach into the front yard 7 foot.
And what section was that?
That would be 404.
Okay, that's 404 as well. Okay. Any other relief?
That's it.
All right. Do you have anything further to add, Mr. Nyder, regarding this application?
I do not.
Okay. Do you believe this application will in any way impact adversely the general character of the neighborhood?
I do not. I think they've made every effort to make it tie into the existing neighborhood.
Great. Thank you very much. Mr. Price, do you have any questions for Mr. Nyder?
No, do you need me to formally amend to add section 704.3, or would you just take it under advisement?
I think we'll take judicial or zoning hearing board notice, but certainly I believe that you agree with that amendment as well.
Sure.
Okay, great. At this point, then, if you have no further questions from Mr. Nyder, Ms. Baer, you've been sworn. You're here today in your capacity as, I believe, the secretary for the zoning hearing board. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, in that capacity, what are your duties and responsibilities?
I prepared a public notice that was posted on the subject property on April 1st of 2021 at approximately 1 p.m. That same notice was mailed out to all adjacent property owners located within 300 feet of the subject property on March 29th of 21 at approximately 11 a.m. And it was also advertised in the Reading Eagle on April 8th and April 15th of 2021 with a proof of publication received.
And were those notices and information you just discussed provided with the information sent to the zoning hearing board and the applicant today?
Yes, they are part of the exhibits that Melissa has displayed on the screen.
All right, we'll mark those as board exhibit number 2. In your capacity as the secretary for the zoning hearing board, do you have any other information that you'd like to share with the board today?
Only that I did receive correspondence from the adjacent property owners, which is included as part of the exhibits that Melissa has available for viewing. I received an email from Jane Nin. She owns 1435 Garfield Avenue, expressing her support of the variance. I also received an email from Martha Good, the owner of 1436 Garfield Avenue, expressing her support for the variance being approved. And also from Josh and Andrea Ditsky, I received an emailed letter dated April 21st. They live directly across the street at 1505 Reading Boulevard / Wyoming Avenue, and also are fully supportive of the variance being granted.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Mr. Price, do you have any questions for Ms. Bear?
Nope. I just thank Mr. Neidert and Ms. Bear for all the assistance they've given us through this process.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Bear. Mr. Ullman, I'll turn it back over to you.
Yes, now that the testimony has been concluded, we're going to have to go into executive session. Now, we did have a discussion about how to do this. Are we going to be asking, I think we're going to be asking everybody to leave this session and to come back. What about time, do you think? About, what time is it?
It's 4:28 right now, so
4:35, you think? 4:35? So we'd ask that everybody except the board and the solicitor leave, and our zoning secretary leave the meeting. Oh, and our,
I'm not very technologically savvy. We'll just leave the conference room and I'll close the door. Is that okay?
I'll tell you what. Well, yeah, you know what? If we don't, you're going to have to come back on either way. We do have another link for an executive session. Can you get back onto this same link, Steve?
My secretary can.
Yeah,
All right.
board members, do you want to go to the other link?
I think we're safer that way, no?
Okay.
and Steve, by the way, no, I empathize.
I know. I'm what you call a Luddite.
So Steve, get your secretary to log back on to the same exact link that she put you on this time at 4:35, all right?
All right, perfect. Yep, thank you.
And we'll go over to the other link. Everybody go over to the other link.
Just confirming that's only 5 minutes from now, right?
It is.
4:34, you're gonna have to go
Yep.
put us back on.
Okay.
the
Fine.
okay?
Thank you.
If we're not, Dr. Parisi, if we're not there, it'll spin, but we'll be back shortly thereafter, okay?
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. Never had a bad reaction. The first action.
Is everybody here?
Yes, we are.
All right, I'm going to reconvene the meeting of the Wyoming Zoning Board. And I'm going to make a motion. I move that the request of Thomas and Natalie Parisi Bell for a variance, 2 setback variances from section 404 area yard and height restrictions, and the expansion exception from section 704.3 non-conforming buildings and structures be granted, subject to the conditions that will be placed on the record, terms and conditions be placed on the record by our solicitor.
And those conditions are as follows, our standard conditions, which basically is comply with all testimony that's been provided today, to comply with all laws, rules, regulations, and ordinances, to obtain and pay for all permits that are necessary, and finally to commence construction with the 1-year date of the written application.
I second.
I all vote aye.
Right?
It's thereby granted.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your time.
Good luck and have some good workouts in that new room.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yep. Good luck.
Be safe, everybody.
Yep. Good
Good
luck.
luck, everybody.
Bye.
Michelle, what do we have? Oh, we have coming up. What's the next one?
May 5th, you have the 2 for the Wyomissing Industrial Park property, and then May 6th, we have the continued hearing for the Wyomissing Industrial Park property.
All right.
And then May
And then
12th.
May 12th, we have, that's the one I haven't sent you anything on yet because I'm still working on putting it together. May 12th, we have 1149 Berkshire Boulevard, a variance request for a drive-through for a Panda Express pad site. And then that's at 3
What?
p.m.
Oh, wow.
And then at 4 p.m.,
What building, what business is that?
Panda Express, it's like a fast food, fast casual Chinese restaurant.
Where?
Well, it's not open yet. They'd have to actually build the building.
Oh, where do they want to build it?
They've submitted land develop Berkshire Square. They've submitted land development plans, but the planning commission can't take action until the variance request is approved for the drive-through. Otherwise, everything complies with zoning. And
Is
then
that a
there's
variance, Michelle, or a special exception for the drive-through?
variance.
Excuse me, am I okay to leave?
Yes, yes.
Okay, have a good
Thank you,
evening.
Kathy.
Sorry, Kathy. Thank you very much.
And then the 4 p.m. is for 112 Sturbridge Court, which Joe sent me that memo earlier today. I've not really looked at it in depth, but I think it's like area, yard, and height and accessory use structure variances for, if memory serves me, a shed. He wants to put like not 5 feet away from the house. It's gonna increase the allowable percentage of accessory use structures allowed on a lot based off the principal use structure, and I think it's in violation of a setback.
Other than that,
Yeah, nothing major.
yeah.
So I did the public notice for both of them. They actually went out today because my deadline for that was next Wednesday, but I've not had a chance to sit down and put everything together in terms of what I send out to you. So at some point next week, I will be doing that.
Hey, can I put in a little plug in for local business?
Sure.
I went to Chef Dave's. That was in the paper today, but I went there earlier this week.
Oh, yeah.
I got dinner, takeout dinner there. It was very good.
Where is it? I saw the article. I didn't read it.
It's where Banco's used to be.
Oh,
On
We need
Evans
to have a
Avenue.
what kind of food was? What kind
You
of
mean
food?
on Evans?
Yes,
Hmm.
and it was very good. I got steamed salmon, and I also got lasagna. It was very good.
So
And-
that person will be coming before you most likely as well, because they want permission to put in some tables, which changes them to a restaurant, which means they need off-street parking, which means they need a variance.
Whoops.
Hmm.
Anyway,
Hey, well, it's a good thing. I mean,
before they get angry, try it.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. So, all right, good. Well, thank you guys very much. Well done.
Thank you. See you
You're
guys
welcome.
soon.
Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank
You too.
Goodbye now.
Bye.